What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Yo Brother podcast. I'm your host, Luke Wilson, and I'm here with my co-host, Archie.
Hello. I got a bit excited there.
So, before we get into it, thank you, as per usual, for the support and everything.
Yep.
It's going a lot better than what we thought.
Thanks, guys.
If,
support means a lot.
if you
Sorry, I
haven't
just
checked
cut you
out
off.
the
I'm
last
sorry.
one, then, go and check it out and make sure you like and subscribe and all that. We shall get into this week's podcast.
Need to pump up them views.
Exactly that. So, a lot's been going on this week, as the same as last week.
Just a bit. Just a few things. Nothing major. Nah.
There's been some protests going on.
The world is protesting, Luke. The world. It's not just America now. It is everywhere. London, Dublin, Paris, Rotterdam in the Netherlands. It's anywhere. This is the Black Lives Matter movement has taken full course, and I am so happy for it. I'm not gonna lie.
I support it 100%. 100%.
We've got so many. Go on, if you want to elaborate on this.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm so glad that something so horrible as a man dying has brought so many people together to just basically protest for the same thing, and people are finally starting to understand.
It's something that's been building up for decades and decades, centuries even, and we're at a point in time, and with the society we have today, where we've just said enough is enough, and it's just great to see.
Well, I'm surprised that the police and stuff ain't afraid of us at the moment. We're the generation that have said that we will raid Area 51.
Oh yeah, we would literally. The Kyles come from the left-hand side, the Naruto runners come from behind. I don't know how the authorities aren't scared of. We don't give a fuck.
Honestly, do you know what? You just put it as plain as day. That's exactly what it is. We care so much that we don't care.
What I love as well is celebrities are also joining in. It's as if they've stripped off their celebrity status, so to say, and they're like, I'm one with the people. Like John Boyega has done bits in the protests in London. Did you see his speech?
Mate, you see how passionate he was about that as well?
He was in tears. It gave me goosebumps, man.
Yeah, I loved it. He's always been passionate about that. He's always been such a down-to-earth person. And, he literally turned around and said, he don't care if it ruins his career. He's standing up for it. He don't care.
Rightly so. But what I do love are Lucasfilms. Is it Lucasfilms for Star Wars that created it? George Lucas. They basically said, right, we're backing you up. Because usually in nowadays, if you're a celebrity, if you're a famous figure, if you say something controversial, even though this shouldn't be controversial, but still it kind of is, you're going against authority, so to say, and the government, and just any sort of racism, it could give you a bad sort of look in the celebrity industry.
Yeah, but then I'd say the other side of that is because it's such a big thing, and if he was then cancelled, let's say, as people cancel celebrities, then it'd be so wrong. Let's say that George Lucas and that turned around and said, well, you've done that, we ain't supporting you. Then they would just be then called out for it, and then they would get cancelled.
It's just you know what I did see? Do you know Lush?
Yeah.
What did they get into? Because I didn't read into it. I don't know if you know as well. I'm guessing you do from your reaction. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no. Something definitely come up about it. Is it something about their employees and stuff? Because I know that there's been a lot of companies that have just been letting off employees.
Oh, I know what I read. I don't know if the whole thing's true. I just read sort of like the headline. It's something like Lush are giving out stuff for free to police officers.
That was it.
It's something like that. And I don't know sort of like the all the details about it, but there was a bit of an outrage over it, and people saying this is why Lush is such a shit company. This, that, and the other.
I just looked it up, and the headline says Lush UK boss called out for tone deaf move, giving presents to police officers 1 day after the George Floyd death.
Oh, come on.
And so many people that have turned around and have then started linking cosmetic companies that
Yeah.
are run by black individuals to support them. So that's always a good thing, and I'd say put it out there. Anyone that's listening that does, use them sort of products, then try and support other businesses. To be fair, because
Support your local businesses at this
that's what
time.
you need to do at this point. Because there's so many protests and going on and stuff that these businesses can't open up, and the celebrities are helping out. Like Kanye West has been helping. He's been pumping in some money to it. Michael Jordan is going to
I
be.
saw that.
Is it Michael Jordan and the
Yeah.
Jordan company? They're going to be pumping like 100 million over the next 10 years or something into these like foundations and stuff.
The charity and the foundations.
Yeah, so I think that's mental. And then you just get like other celebrities that you don't even think of like protesting. Like when I see Tyrone Mings out
Yeah.
protesting in the streets of London.
In Birmingham, I think he was in. Then
Yeah,
you've got
and
Lily Reinhart, Jonah Hill, all the
yeah,
One Direction boys.
yeah.
You got
See,
Logan Paul in LA, in comparison to his brother Jake. Fucking
yeah,
idiot.
that's a bit of a sticky one. That is. There was Cole Sprouse who got arrested in LA.
Did you hear about the Ben and Jerry's co-founders? They got arrested.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Don't understand why people are getting arrested for it. Like, especially if they're sitting and being peaceful about it.
Have you seen the videos of the actual protests and what police are doing?
I've seen some of them. Like, some of them are absolutely mental. I've seen more about the ones that are happening in England. To be honest, obviously because that's coming up on my Twitter timeline and stuff. Like the horses running wild.
Yeah, I saw. No, the one thing that gets me, and I sent you the video, is when Batman. No, you sent me the video. Is when Batman was strolling through the smoke
Yeah,
within the protests.
yeah, that was
That
quite
gave
cool.
me goosebumps. There's been a bit of backlash about that because there's also been other people dressing up as the Joker and sort of coming out. And there's been backlash from people saying people are using this as like a way to just, I don't know, have fun or something like that. I really like the Batman one because he is all about justice,
Yeah.
and
I
it
mean, it's
fit in
quite good.
so well.
You got to think it's going to be getting across to everyone because you got to think like Batman. Batman has basically come out through the protest to protest for justice.
Yeah,
So you got to think then kids might even get involved and start to look at it and understand that Batman's there doing a good thing. So what these protests are doing aren't bad.
that is very smart. No, I didn't look at it like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's I mean it's a good way to just get out there as well.
Yeah.
So you got people dressing up and stuff. They're going to make the headlines in media and stuff like that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be start pushing through these protests.
So, well, the protests have been going well. I don't know how well in London. I've seen a few police officers,
honestly,
exploiting their force.
It's just an excuse to just them start to riot, which I think is ridiculous.
The riots are what are ruining the protests. I'm not gonna lie, but a big thing with the riots, especially in America, I don't know about England. In America, the police are provoking the riots. There's been videos of the police, like distributing tons of bricks in the street, trying to get the protesters to throw the bricks. There's been videos of like police officers smashing their own cars up, smashing shop windows, and they're trying to sort of give themselves a reason to use their brute force to tame the protesters when it's just been peaceful. Well, then you do have the crazy ones that are actually rioting, looting everything.
Yeah, there's no need for it. Like, it started off as a protest in the name of George Floyd, which people need to like not forget the reason why these protests happen.
Yeah,
because, a black male, which I also saw a video. Apparently, he was having a heart attack.
Who? What?
Don't know if you've seen it, but George Floyd was having a heart attack
in the video.
So I've seen a video of this guy explaining another clip that George Floyd was there, and apparently he first had his back up against the wall and started sliding down the wall, and they've then forced him up and started walking along with him, and he's collapsed again. And then that's when you see the clip of everyone jumping on him and putting the knee to his neck. And apparently, he's had a heart attack. I don't know how true it is. It's just something that I've seen. I mean, I'm quick to have a little look up, but apparently, like the autopsy will come out and say,
asphyxiation, I think, is what killed him.
That
But
apparently he apparently he was having a heart attack.
really,
I'll have a quick little look now.
I didn't know that. I thought maybe, if anything, he was having a panic attack. But I wouldn't have suspected a heart attack. But no, you got police brutality, literally just now more than ever. Really, I don't know if you've seen the video of this 75-year-old man. I think he was literally just handing over a riot helmet that the police must have dropped.
Was he an old white guy?
Yeah,
yeah.
he was just handing it over to the police, and they just shoved him and pushed him to the ground. 75-year-old
Yeah,
man
he
bleeding
died.
from his head. Huh? No, I don't like. Did he actually?
I thought I read that he died. I know that the police officers there were fired or restrained or something.
They were suspended, I think.
Yeah, I know that something happened with them. I've seen that video. But yeah, no, there's been loads that's been happening during these protests and stuff. So like during the riots and that, there was actually a retired police captain. He was
Yeah.
77 years old, and he was actually shot and killed by looters at a pawn
Oh
shop
no.
last week. His name was David Dawn. He was actually found dead on the sidewalk in front of the store. And last I read, that no one was arrested. He was actually a friend of the pawn shop owner, so he would frequently check on it when the alarms go off and stuff. So yeah, that wasn't even from the police. That was from the looters and rioters themselves.
That's just where police stuff like that is where police probably feel like they need to use their brute force, because the protests aren't the issue, it's the riots. And these riots, you can see that they're not really there for the support of the movement. They're there to try to have personal gain from it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of it. But going back to the George Floyd thing, I've just read that George Floyd had drugs in his system and severe heart disease when the police officer put a knee to his neck. Apparently, it doesn't change the conclusion that his death was a homicide. But yeah, so he had heart issues and stuff like that when he was first arrested, and they still didn't help him.
So he's had previous heart issues.
Yeah.
And were these drugs medicational drugs? Does it state?
It just said drugs in his system. I would take that as non-medical.
See, the thing with that as well, police should always, as soon as with detaining someone, it's known as, if they are seen hurt, you ask the detainee, do you require aid? And obviously this was not bothered by the police in this instance. Otherwise, if he was having a heart attack, they would have known. Like it would have been sort of shown. Do you agree?
She's saying that he couldn't breathe. He was literally saying he couldn't breathe, and if he's collapsed, that's true that he has collapsed. Then, then surely they would just try and keep him detained and get him to the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like make sure that everything's alright, basically. And if it's not, then he would end up going to hospital, and then he would still be arrested, but it should be in hospital. Like, I don't know. It's just a bit of a crazy thing that's happened. Like, there's no other way of putting it other than it shouldn't have happened.
The only sad thing is as well, it in a way it doesn't come as a surprise where a black man has been murdered by a white police officer, as there has been hundreds of cases of this in England as well. People say that, oh, why are we protesting in England? It's stupid. It happened in America. It don't happen in England. It does.
Plenty of
it happens everywhere. Did you see Tobe Jizzle?
Yeah, I've
video?
seen that. Yeah, it was his
string.
His heartfelt video, yeah, of him saying that he's worried when he has to go places. Was it his brother Manny was in Italy, and he got told by someone to watch his back because there's racist areas in that area.
Yeah, it was hard to watch for sure.
It honestly was. But yeah, we're just kind of lucky that our police ain't like that.
Yeah, but I just don't like how not all police are like that. But because they have to, so say a few bad eggs in the police force.
Yeah.
Within, say, the world, a few bad eggs instantly means the whole police force are scum.
Yeah, I think that's what's an issue as well.
Generally isn't the case. But the other thing is, you cannot have a few bad eggs in the police force.
Yeah, in something such as serious as the police, because
it's like saying what Chris Rock said. What Chris Rock said. It's like saying you have a pilot who sometimes likes to land a plane. Do you get that?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, that's a way of putting it.
I know. With the riots, there's been.
The thing is, well, there's been many like deaths. I honestly, I just wanted to have a little look up as to like what's actually been happening and the deaths and stuff. And I think there's only been a couple that we've heard about. So I think we've all heard about the shop owner being like basically killed and stuff. I couldn't actually find that story, but I've seen it all over Twitter and stuff about the shop owner that was like kicked to death, basically. But then another one was actually police and the National Guard troops were trying to clear a crowd last Monday, and they heard gunshots. And obviously, the police being the police, they returned fire, and they actually killed a man called David McCatty, is how I'm going to pronounce it. He was actually an owner of a barbecue restaurant. Apparently, he was well known. He was an African American man, and he used to offer free meals to the officers that would stop by his restaurant. However, the mayor fired the police chief because he found out that the officers had not turned on their body-worn cameras. So
it's just typical, ain't it?
It's just the word is they shot back at a crowd, and but there's no proof because there's no recording of it on their side. But there's obviously them shooting, and there's a dead man come out of it. So it's honestly, I understand if there was gunshots and they returned fire, then you know it ends up becoming a civil war, and that is not what you want. Like, in the good old song by Guns N' Roses, it says, "What is so civil about war anyway?" And I don't think there's any other way to put it. Like, that's what it'll end up becoming. If it doesn't slow down, it'll end up becoming a civil war because people have had enough, and the police.
I think it already has. To be fair,
police is just kind of there as well. Like, they need to. They feel like they need to be violent because the rioters are being violent.
Yeah.
And when it's just all violence, nothing's going to get solved. Like, there was protests, and now the police officers have been charged for second-degree murder.
People want the degree raised as well, from what I've heard, which is stupid as well because there's not enough evidence to support that it was first-degree murder.
Yeah,
it was brilliant seeing it's second-degree murder.
Isn't first-degree murder just premeditated murder?
Yeah, but there's not enough evidence to prove that. Did you know that Derek Chauvin guy?
Murder is going in, wanting to kill, planning on killing.
Yeah.
There wasn't. I saw why it would be. Was it third-degree murder?
Third-degree murder where it was intent to harm but not to kill.
Yeah, I
saw why kind of seen as a manslaughter.
I saw why it was that. Like, first of all, and then obviously when you start looking at it, and he knows that he can't breathe, which obviously is going to lead to a death. Then that's when there becomes the intent for him not just to be harmed, but further action.
I don't know if you knew this, but did you know that Derek Chauvin, the man that was leaning on George Floyd's neck, he actually worked at the same restaurant as a bouncer with George Floyd for 13 years? So he knew George Floyd. Yeah, he knew him.
Knew him? That is mental.
They both worked at the same restaurant as bouncers for 13 years. I think it's 13, don't quote me on it. But he did know George Floyd.
That's crazy.
But with that, they've been charged. They're going to be sentenced, rightfully so. Justice has been won in that sense, but then there's a bigger cause.
There is a bigger picture here, and I do believe there needs to be some sort of look and arrangements made. So stuff like this doesn't happen in future, and I think that's what people want. That's why there's more protests still, then I just don't see why the riots have come about. I understand people are angry, but I don't think it's not the protesters that are doing it.
No, the writers are literally just using this movement as a way on what can they gain personally, i.e., breaking into shops, stealing items, um, assaulting police and other members of the public. Like there was a video of a man in America. He was using hammers, smashing up like the sidewalk to get cement or bricks to throw it at the police, and the protesters just swarmed this guy, grabbed him, and threw him to the police. Be like, "No, I have him. That's not what we're about."
Yeah, I've seen another video as well where there was this kid, let's say, and he was using his skateboard to break into this like shop,
Mm-hmm.
and he's breaking the first door, and then he's breaking the second window, and like two protesters come up to him, grabbed his skateboard, pulled it from him, threw that away, and then just like threw him away as if to be like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're not doing that here.
that's not what the protest is about. Then you've had a policeman in Mexico set on fire. I don't know if you've seen this, but a
No.
man literally poured on gasoline over him, set him on fire, and then ran off. The policeman was on his motorbike, literally on fire, had to run off and go receive aid. People in London chucking bricks and hurting the horses
Yeah, I've
that
seen
police were
that.
riding.
That's horrible.
But in that
That's
sense, it's
horrible.
just. Do you know what one thing that people don't understand as well? And it's all lives matter. That phrase, all lives matter. Yes, you're right, but all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Pretty
And it's the
much.
phrase of what I told you the other day is when there's a burning house in one neighborhood
Yeah.
and the firefighters come and they've got to pour water and hose down every single other house as well as the burning house. That is the thing of
There's
all
been
lives
quite a
matter.
few that I've seen like that. It's like, let's say someone broke their leg.
Yeah.
It's like, I was like, okay, what about my leg? Like, well,
Yeah. You know what I mean?
well, dealing with this one because it's broken. I understand, like, you got to make sure that your leg don't break, but it's not broken.
Mhm.
Like, honestly, yeah, the all lives matter thing. I understand the where people are coming from in the fact that yes, all lives do matter. They do, and that's not. They're not saying that people ain't protesting saying that all lives don't matter. That's what
No.
people are like getting confused at. Like Black Lives Matter, and that's protests going on now because what's been happening.
Yeah,
What's been happening for like years and years and centuries, and been happening for so long, and it just shouldn't be.
it's just proven in history that black lives don't matter to certain individuals, whether it be authorities or civilians. So saying
Well,
all lives matter, it don't matter until Black Lives Matter. Just simple
so
as that.
well, yeah. If you want to go back to it, like back before when there was no equality between men and women,
Yeah.
and let's say when the women were, suffragette and they were, protesting that they want equality and all that. What if the men just turned around and went, "Hey, what about us?" Well, that's
Yeah.
that's not the point, is it?
No.
You're all right at the moment.
Yeah, you're
Like,
fine.
that's the whole thing of it. And obviously, equality between sexes is a whole nother thing. But I'm just saying, as a situation, you're fighting for equality throughout everyone. It's like, but this is the one group that's not equal at the moment. So that's what you're fighting for.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
I totally agree. So we hope there will be justice and peace brought on upon this. I don't think anything good will come of this anytime soon. Meaning, um, the protest will still carry on because this isn't a thing that can be solved within a day or a week. This could take months to years for it to come across,
it
especially
shouldn't.
to authorities.
It
Luke,
shouldn't take that long.
2020 has been a shit show, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Think about it. So let's say January to February, the big thing was World War Three.
Yeah.
February to mid-May, coronavirus. May to current times, it's Black Lives Matter movement. And to top it all off, we're only midway through the year, You know what came out last week or a few days ago? The case for Madeleine McCann has reopened.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What else is going to happen?
I don't know. What if she does make a comeback? What if it everyone sits there and thinks like she's a goner, but what if it turns around and she's not?
Well, I mean, let's talk about the Madeleine McCann situation to begin with. If you've been living under a rock for the past decade, then let's just give some context. So we've got Madeleine McCann, 3 years old. She disappeared from her family apartment in 2007 while on a holiday in southern region of Portugal, Algarve. So her parents, Jerry and Kate McCann, they had left their children unaccompanied in their apartment to sleep during the night so they can go have a few drinks with their friends because it was on like a group holiday. And they do like routine checks here and there to go check up on the kids, make sure they're sleeping and all that. And then the last time when Kate went up to check, she saw Madeleine was missing. So she goes back to the group and she says she's been taken. Which is just crazy how you've made that assumption right off the bat. Not she's missing.
Word it like that.
Yeah.
You'd say she's missing, or where is she, or
just
you wouldn't straight up be like they've taken her. Who?
I guess for one thing that you can sort of say why she said that is when you're a parent. Well, we obviously won't know because we haven't experienced it. But say if you're a parent and your child goes missing, maybe the first thought in your head goes to the worst thing that could have happened, and that is child abduction.
Yeah, so you wouldn't. But then you'd come out and be like, "Someone's taken Maddie," but then that wouldn't really go through your head. It would, of course, it would. But I mean, that wouldn't. For me, that would not be the first thing that I'd say. It would say, "Where is Maddie?" And then that's when people panic, and then that's when you go, "Someone must have taken her."
This is what I think that what she said. She's been taken is what's obviously sparked the Kate and Jerry being the main suspects, I guess, during this case. Because I mean, there was many things. The crime scene was tampered so much by Kate and Jerry, from them closing the shutter windows. They washed Madeleine's teddy bear, her blanket, blood or something. Or DNA was found in their car boot of Madeleine McCann's. Like
blood in the boot of the car or something.
Yeah, and they just refused to answer questions to the authorities. Like, help the authorities to help you.
It's major dodgy. Like, I've seen so many different theories on it, so many different things on it. Like, apparently a local saw Jerry McCann down by the beach that night.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That's a bit weird.
Yep, that's a bit odd human behaviour for sure.
Yeah. They knew that things were going missing in that area, so there were burglaries and stuff like that put in that area. So why would they stay there?
One thing, and I spoke to you about this earlier, why would they close the shutter windows? Say something happened where they're claiming that she'd been taken. What if she was genuine? Because she's a 3-year-old girl, she's going to be wanting to explore, wondering where her parents are. She could have seen the window open and just literally climbed out to go find her parents. So as a parent, why would you shut the windows that your child could have potentially used to get out? If you shut it, then you're not allowing the kids to maybe use their mind on that's how they got back into the apartment. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, like, that's evidence itself.
So
you with search around, just be like in a panic, and you would just be like, "Where is she? Where is she?" And you'd ask everyone that you see as well.
You'd look for like help immediately.
Yeah.
I think she took a bit of time before actually going back. No, they took a bit of time before telling the authorities, before telling the police. About an hour or so it took before they actually called the police.
The thing is, what I find crazy about this case is there's been other cases similar to this where a child has been abducted because the parent has left them to it. And the parent's done. The parent has would get charged or whatever. Basically, I can't think of what it is right now, but basically, because they've left a child unattended, you can get charged for it. It's basically like
There's a word for it. I can't think of it. It's just like it's child endangerment, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad parenting as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't get charged for bad parenting, but yeah, you essentially do because you've left your child unattended. And considering that Maddie was 3 and she was the oldest, wasn't she?
Yeah. They had another twins.
Yeah.
Kate and Jerry had. So it's also why were they not taken?
Yeah,
why were
that's
they fine?
well. Like, if you think about it, if it's someone abducting children, yeah, then I would think that unless it's one person, which at the moment it is just that one suspect in Germany, taking a 3-year-old rather than 2 twins.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to that. So, reports coming in from last week stated that a new suspect, the police have named, he's called Christian B. And it was said that in a bar in Germany, Christian made comments in which could have linked him to the disappearance of Madeleine. And there's also evidence where Christian was actually around the area during that time.
Yeah.
He's had allegations made against him before where he's had rape allegations made against him by a woman in that same area just 2 years prior, which was actually true. And he's in prison right now regarding child sex abuse. So he's it's just right there. Like, this is a prime suspect. If he's in the area, he's got previous history with this sort of stuff. It could be a thing.
But then it could also be, yeah, he could be the suspect. It could be him. But then it also could be some sort of cover up. You don't know.
Could it be just bad timing?
Like,
wrong place, wrong time.
Exactly. Just the perfect suspect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, nevertheless, he was in the area. He has previous history of that. It's like linking 2 and 2 together, where you can't really sort of find where it can't be true. If you guess what I mean, where it's so it sounds so right. They could be pinning it against him as well because, like what you said, the little girl that he took in Germany named Inga. So he's got previous history of it, and maybe they just think we've got this suspect. Just pin it on him. He's already in prison.
Yeah.
He's already facing time.
That's the thing as well. Why is it taking this long?
Well, they had tips back in 2011 or 13 from a man that in a bar where Christian said this stuff. He said something like he wanted to take something small and keep it for a few days, and like referencing a child. And the man told the authorities back in 2013, but they just ignored it.
Yeah, it's just, why is it taking 13 years for them to just...
It's crazy.
All of a sudden, because, right, personally, I don't know what the police have done and stuff like that. I know that, I swear the Portuguese authorities as well haven't got much say in it either, which is a bit weird.
To be fair, with the police in Algarve, in that sort of city, they're not used to having big sort of crimes like this. They're used to like maybe a burglary here, maybe a cat gets stuck in a tree here and there. Yeah. Not a whole disappearance of a 3-year-old child that is literally broke the news.
Yeah, that's true.
They weren't trained enough for that.
I've read that apparently the Portuguese think something's a bit dodgy with the McCanns. That's what I've read before. That's why they've kind of not been involved with it as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it could be training, funding, anything, basically. Obviously, they are English, so it's going to probably be more English-based authorities. But again, wouldn't you just turn around and just be like, okay, well, who's in that area? Who's staying in that area? Have a background check on people in that area.
Yeah.
So to just try and line up some suspects, because someone probably I doubt they'd go, let's say 5 miles out, just traveling 5 miles just to go and abduct a child. Which is why I just think it's very weird that kids go missing all the time and they've just carried on this case for 13 years.
It is very strange. It's also the sense of what we said, where if it was a man abducting a child, he had the option to take 2 more children.
Yeah.
Was it the case? It was definitely probably like a one-man I don't think there are any other people involved. If this is what happened with this Christian B, this German man, it could be just take what you can carry.
Yeah.
But there are two. It's just so crazy to say, to use even this as an example. But you got two children there. Wouldn't that be easier to take instead of a 3-year-old toddler? It's crazy to think. It's just weird how the two children have been left, but Madeleine McCann was taken specifically.
And there's all the theories about how they gave them sleeping pills to make sure that they were asleep.
That was my main theory on it.
Because they're both doctors. I know Jerry was a doctor. And you don't know that could have happened. They might have slipped them some sort of sleeping pills, and they might have overdosed.
Mm-hmm.
And they could turn around and go, what have we done? And just try and cover it up, because then they wouldn't want to be done for killing a child.
Yeah.
You don't know what they could have done. And then if you've seen, and then that kind of links up to say that if there was this local that has seen Jerry McCann down by the beach, who's to say that he didn't just chuck the body in the river, the sea?
It's you make a very good point there.
Like
the fact that they are doctors, they could think.
Like it's been going on for years. Money's been put into it, and nothing has come out of it.
Do you know how much money's been put into this?
How much?
11 million.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it going?
That can get you a quite average centre back for West Ham. It's not a joking matter, but you got to shine some sort of light in this podcast.
Honestly, where has that money gone?
I don't know. 11 million is a big figure, especially to put into a missing persons case that's been going on for 13 years.
Yeah, if you just spread it out, okay, that's just under $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, seriously, what has happened? But it could also be a crazy theory that this has suddenly come up when all these protests and coronavirus is around.
Do you reckon?
Could it be some sort of distraction or something? You don't know.
It could be a thing. Back to what I was saying, to take the public's eye off of the protests,
could be.
Use something, pin it on this German man that's got previous history with child abduction and that stuff, and pin it on him.
Exactly.
But relating back to what you said with the sleeping pills, that was what I was so sure that's what it was, where they just wanted to have a good time with their mates.
Yeah.
So they thought they'd just give them sleeping pills.
Yeah.
As they are doctors, they would have,
They would know how to use it. They would have them.
And maybe they just, overdosed on Madeleine. When Kate came back, she sort of saw, I don't know, Madeleine was dead. And they covered it up.
Her saying they've taken her, you'd never know. That might not be they've abducted her. That could have been the pills have taken her life. You don't know how it's worded. It could have been. Could have been. And then that's when they all sit there for a minute. It could have been. Because apparently they all just sat there for a minute, didn't they, as well? And just kind of looked around like...
Yeah, they finished their drink, and then they... No, I'm joking. That was... Imagine that, when she's used the phrase that they've taken her, in the sense that it was the pills that taken her. Maybe because she can't live with her own guilt, so she's got to actually say something that's true, meaning they've taken her in reference to the pills.
Could be.
But also the interviews that they have. Like, Kate looks so guilty. She looks so guilty, but Jerry, on the other hand,
does look like an act.
Jerry looks so sort of like unfazed by it at all. He almost looks dead in his face, in his personality, just stone cold. But I don't know whether that's because of his profession, where he can't really have a laugh, can he, when he's a doctor or a surgeon?
I don't know. It's just a bit dodgy, and they just seem very suspicious. Like, it's been going on for way too long, and they don't answer questions correctly. There's so many things that link it to them being suspects that all of a sudden, this German guy that you gave tips on back 7 years ago is all of a sudden come up again, and oh no, it is him. Well, in the last 7 years, why didn't you just have a little look into him? Just have a little look into him. what's it going to do? Seriously,
There's no harm done.
You haven't got anywhere in them 6-7 years that you was investigating anyway. So, let's say they've spent 6 mil by that point as well. Anyway, what difference is it going to make? Like, you've already pumped in so much money into this investigation. Look at a lead suspect. It just makes sense. Why has it taken another 7 years for them to just let this guy pop up again?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, we don't have the answers.
Unless Maddie was his first.
Could be. He has had, Well, the fact of the matter is, it don't matter what could have occurred. The main thing is, where is this child? And she's just, at this point, she's presumed dead. I mean, it's just the most likely thing. Where else is she going to be?
Yeah.
Which is the sad case, but it's looking like the true case. But that's the other news that's come out this week. The main big talking point, especially in England. Such a big thing.
That's all the crazy stuff that's been happening.
Yeah.
To be fair, that I tried to find if there's any light news that might be a bit happier this week, and everything's just overrun with that. Otherwise, it ends up talking about football again, and we can talk about that all the time.
We can do that for a whole other podcast. With this podcast, I really want to focus on conspiracy theories, but from the progression of what's been happening this week with the protests and the case, we had to do a podcast on this because there's such a talking point about it.
Yeah, honestly, it's crazy. It is crazy.
But on that note, that's our podcast today, guys. Yeah. Hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, please. We need them numbers up. Support the Yo Brother movement. Support the Black Lives movement. We'll put the petitions in the description again.
Make sure you support it. Support us. Support them. Just support everyone at this point in time. That's what everyone needs right now. Is just a helping hand, a friend.
Was that your motivational message for today, or have you got another one?
Yeah, no, just make sure you help those that need it. Obviously, it's hard this time right now, being locked inside, and all this stuff going on in the world. It's just hard to stay positive, and just help those that need it most. Whether it be something small, something big, just give them a helping hand.
Well, that's it from us this week, guys. Love you as always. Roll the outro.